It's very important and valuable to realize that the macro and the micro work the very same way. The macro is the global events. Micro are personal, individual, one-on-one events. They actually work on the very same principles. If you have a bully bullying you, and you use what we call diplomacy, right? You try and work things out, appease them, give them a bone that they don't deserve. That's excellent to do because we really just want to de-escalate the situation and get rid of it. We'll even sacrifice a little bit to do that. But if the bully is such an aggressive bully that they will not step down, there's only one way to stop them. And that is to completely bring them to their knees, to eliminate the possibility of them continuing to bully. This is the way it is on the macro too. And let's watch this video together where there's this discussion about the fact that Israel has never been given the ability to actually bring this bully to its knees and stop it from having the ability to do what it's doing. All negotiations haven't worked. They've tried that way too many times. They must be brought to their knees, and anyone that is pushing Israel to some form of an agreement at this point with Lebanon is making a grave mistake and perpetuating the problem. Let's watch this video together.
I think the whole narrative of now we have a two-front war, Israel is now doing this. I mean, the headline should be Israel is defending itself in a 7-front war, that there's been 8,000 Hezbollah rockets attacking Israel for over a year, and the world's like, well, you should not do anything about that. I mean, it's crazy. They have 80 to 100,000 Israelis homeless. It won't be another Gaza. The objectives are completely different, but I think the narrative, as you just talked about double standards, and any other country in this situation, this wouldn't be the questions we were asking.
Why do you think it is with Israel?
I mean, there's a long list of people trying to rewrite history. What is sovereign borders? A terrorist organization. I mean, I saw somebody calling the pager operation terrorism conducted by Israel. People have lost their mind on who are terrorists, who are actually defending their civilians, who are trying to get their civilians killed. People trying to rewrite borders, call people resistance fighters. I mean, we don't have time to talk to all the reasons, but it's just crazy.
I agree. I agree with the conclusion. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, listen, I agree with John. And I think the Biden administration is squarely behind the Israelis right now. I think there was an intolerable situation with respect to Hezbollah, and Israel has every right to act. I don't think anybody cared about the killing of Akil. I think a lot of people quietly celebrated that. The question is, what's next? And is there a risk of miscalculation here that's going to drag the U.S. into a conflict that literally nobody in this country wants? And the problem is we just have no influence over Netanyahu at all. So if he decides in his own sole and unreviewable discretion that a ground invasion into Lebanon is the only way to meet their military objectives. Oh, by the way, total victory. Right. And nobody can define what total victory means when it comes to somebody like that. Then, you get to a risk reward that doesn't work for the United States anymore. And I think
Israel has never been allowed to claim total victory either, which is another weird part of this equation.
And here's that key point. Israel has never been allowed to declare complete victory because we are always stopped in the process. A few very key points here. Whenever you're having a conversation, the narrative, as John Spencer mentioned, is very, very important. They will always speak out of their narrative. Most often nowadays, if you haven't noticed, their narrative is actually not a correct description of what's going on. And you must respond out of your narrative. The narrative is not that Israel is attacking Lebanon. The narrative is that that Hezbollah has shot thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of rockets over the last 11 months, almost a year. And they have killed children in the process. And Israel has tried every form of a soft approach to get them to stop. And the bully has not stopped. This is the narrative. And therefore, Israel is defending the lives of their citizens. There are close to 100,000 citizens who have not been able to live in their homes for the last 11 months. It's completely unacceptable. And therefore, Israel must defend itself. That is the actual narrative. When the other gentleman mentions that America is squarely behind Israel, we have to be clear about something. America is not squarely behind Israel. America has given Israel an enormous amount of money and continues to give Israel an enormous amount of arms. And that's fantastic. And we are very grateful for that. But we have to understand something. The real strength comes from the perspective, the narrative, the emotional support. And what America does is it extends one hand and pulls back another. It gives all of this material support, but then the actual strength to go and finish the job, America never does. And they complain and they throw Israel under the bus in the media to weaken Israel. And so America is not squarely behind Israel, and that's a very big problem. It's a problem because it's not just a problem for Israel. It's a problem for the world. It's a problem for eliminating terrorism. That's what the problem is. So diplomacy is wonderful, and de-escalating the situation is critically important. However, the moment you see it doesn't work, there's only one solution, and that is total victory is needed, and we cannot compromise that one iota. And when America doesn't say that explicitly, they are weakening Israel, because this is what Hezbollah, Iran, Hamas rely on. They know America is going to do this. Unfortunately, America has become reliable. They know America is going to do this, and then they pray that America is going to force Israel into a treaty. Any frustration people have with what Israel is doing right now, or they say what Netanyahu is doing, is simply because they don't have the backbone to stand behind a complete and entire solution, which is a complete and entire victory.